Right, so this is an interesting one. It says, write an equation on a line that passes through the point 1, comma, -1. Now, because it's passing through this point, this is going to be one set of x and y. And then it says it's parallel through these points. It doesn't give me the slope. So I have to calculate the slope. Now this is where I don't want you to get confused. We're going to do two sets of x sub 1s, but it doesn't have to be x sub 1. It could be x sub 3 or whatever. So anyways, let's calculate the slope. So what they're saying is that this line passes through these 2 points. I only need to calculate the slope that passes through those 2 points. So to do that, I'm going to say m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So we'll label this as x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. Okay? What's y sub 2, guys? -3. You guys see that? Formula has a minus sign. Minus y sub 1. What's y sub 1? 1. All right. The formula has x sub 2 next. What's x sub 2, guys? 2. Formula has a minus sign, so I'm going to put a minus sign here. Minus x sub 1. What's x sub 1? 4. What's -3 minus 1? Yep, -4. What's 2 minus 4? You're half right. -2. What's going on with these negatives? When you take a negative and divide it by a negative, what do you really end up with? Positive. So here's some more Adams notation. I just do this to remind myself that it was negative, but because I'm dividing a negative by a negative, I get a positive. What does 4 over 2 reduce down to? No, other way around. 2, right? What's 4 divided by 2? 2, right? Remember, fractions are like division problems. You take the top number and divide it by the bottom number. So what they're saying is that the slope of this line is 2. Well, since it's parallel, it has to have the same slope. Parallel lines have the same slope. So this represents my original line, and then the line for the parallel, or I'm sorry, the slope for the parallel line is also 2. But now here's the part that somebody might get confused on. My formula is y sub 1 equals, or y minus y sub 1 times is equal to m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. Oh man, I was struggling to get that out. But I'm not talking about this one or this one because that's a completely different line. Does that make sense? Be careful. Don't plug this stuff in. That's a completely different line. We're going to need to plug this one in because that goes into the new line. Okay? So I'm going to say y minus y sub 1. What is y sub 1? -1. So we put minus 1. The slope is 2 times the quantity x minus x sub 1 of the new line, which is just 1. When you minus a minus, it's really a plus, so this becomes y plus 1. Distribute the 2 through the parentheses. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times a -1 is -2. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides. And we get y is equal to 2x minus 3, right? So how do I double check this one? same thing. I'm going to graph it, but I'm going to graph the points. So this will be an interesting one. My new line, wait, what was my new equation? 2x minus 3. So way down here, I'm going to put 2x minus 3. The point that passes through is 1 comma negative 1. So I'm going to change this to 1 comma negative 1. Oh, not 11. And then I got to change the same thing down here. I'm just going to call this point. And then this one, I got to get rid of this, and I got to graph the 2 points. So I'm going to do the 2 points here. My first point was 4 comma 1. 4 comma 1. Right? And we don't necessarily need to label that. We'll call that point A. And then my next point was 2 comma negative 3. And we'll call that point B. Yeah, they're parallel, right? You guys see that? So let me take a screenshot of that. And we'll just kind of tack that in here, right? And so if I were to draw a line between those 2 points, you can see it's parallel to this line, and then it does cross through the point 1 comma negative 1. Okay? That's how